But Fox News projecting that Joe Biden taking Nevada right there, but those votes still being tabulated right now. Hi, everyone. Mike Page here as we continue to roll on here on News Now from Fox. Really a live look at the White House. Just wanted to announce once again, I already talked about this, but it's a big breaking news story. President Trump firing the Defense Secretary Mark Esper. And then so that and replacing him with Christopher Miller. So once we get some more details, of course, we'll bring that to you. But he did put that tweet out just moments ago as we continue to look at the White House, where President Trump is not giving up on the election. In fact, he's doubling and tripling down on these legal challenges. And really at the heart of the legal challenges will be his legal counsel, Rudy Giuliani. And here's an interview that he did today with Fox 5 New York.
This morning, as far as we know, President Trump is not conceding defeat. His campaign says it will contest Joe Biden as the projected winner, and his legal team is moving ahead with efforts to fight the results, filing several lawsuits beginning today in Pennsylvania.
All right, joining us now, President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, who claims that there is strong evidence of election fraud in several states. Mr. Giuliani, thanks for being with us. So,
how are you?
We're doing great. So over the weekend, everyone or so many people were saying, where is the evidence? So let's talk about the states you're filing today, and where's the evidence?
Well, sure. First, if people would cover me, they would have the evidence. We did a press conference on Saturday that no one covered, local stations did, in which we revealed 4 witnesses in place of 50. There were 50 others, all of whom were inspectors that were inspecting the coverage in Philadelphia. They were supposed to be allowed to see the ballots. They saw no ballots. They were kept over 20 feet away. When they went to court and the judge required they be put closer, the sheriff refused to put them closer and even threatened to arrest them. This will be documented in a lawsuit that will be filed today. That lawsuit now has over 70 witnesses, as well as videotape, that will prove that 350,000 ballots in Philadelphia have to be discarded. They can't be counted because they are under the law of Pennsylvania, which is set by the state legislature. They're illegal ballots. They were observed by no one. The envelope that the envelope that would tell you that they're valid ballots has been cast aside. The only thing left is a ballot, and we have to trust that the Democratic machine of Philadelphia, which has cheated just about in every election in 60 years, was doing it honestly. So, now, of course, that's beyond credulity, but it doesn't matter. The minute you discard the envelope, you don't have a person inspected, it's an illegal ballot. And they even ultimately defied a court order to do that. In Pittsburgh, very similar, about 150,000 ballots. In their case, during the first half, they didn't allow us access. But then when the court issued an order, they allowed us access. So instead of 300,000 ballots, there's 150,000 there. That would amount to 450,000. So maybe the press could stop saying there's no evidence. So there's a different. Now you may not believe the evidence,
right?
But you don't get to decide that. The judge does. So there is evidence of voter fraud.
Who pays
fraud
for
on the
the
part
lawsuits
of the Democrat Party
right now, Mr.
Fraud
Giuliani?
on the part of the Democrat Party of Pennsylvania. There also are about 30 cases of backdated ballots. There are witnesses. That means evidence. There are ballots that came in on November 4th, and people were instructed, and there are witnesses for this, people were instructed to backdate it to the 3rd. We're up to 400 of those. And then there are about 50 so far dead people who voted.
So who's paying for it, Mr. Giuliani? Who's paying for the lawsuits?
The Republican National Committee.
Gotcha.
No taxpayer money
being paid for by the Republican National Committee. But I really, you should stop saying there's no evidence.
Mayor,
in fact, there's evidence pouring in.
But Mayor, it's not just the media.
There's evidence pouring in all over the country,
right,
that there was fraud. So we have to gather it. The next state we'll be moving in probably tomorrow is in the state of Michigan, where there's multiple evidence of fraud.
But Mayor,
can
I just interrupt one quick second? It's not just the media saying this. It's Chris Christie, an advisor to President Trump, who says basically, we're not going to follow the president blindly. We need evidence. He's saying that there's no evidence, and he's a friend of yours.
I didn't call them idiots. I'm telling you they're uninformed. There is evidence that it happened. There are thousands and thousands of witnesses. I have 70 of them in this one case. There are about 200 in Michigan. There are about 200 in Nevada. There are well over 1,000 witnesses that fraud was committed. There are actual dead people that we have found on the rolls. There are people, at least 100 people in different states who have been told to backdate ballots. They are willing to go under oath. Many of them have given us affidavits. There is a boatload of evidence. So if people want to say there's no evidence, they can say it, but it's uninformed, and now they should be on notice that it's untrue.
So
now,
how long will this process take, Mayor?
As long as it takes for a court to have a hearing. These people are ready to read. We now have 50 people ready to testify in a court in Philadelphia that they were deliberately prevented from carrying out their duties, so that, in essence, the count in Philadelphia was unlawful. Not the first time this has happened in Philadelphia. It happens almost every year. Joe Frazier was voting for 3 years after he was dead. Will Smith's grandfather voted for 2 years after he was dead.
But we don't know if they voted in this election, right?
But I do know that over 40 people died and voted.
So is there any
truth? I just began counting. Look, you can fight it all you want. The reality is dead people voted. Over 300,000 ballots were counted in secret just by the Democrats. It happened to be when they caught up from the ridiculous 700,000 they were behind.
Is there any truth that Melania...
Overnight, they found 300,000 ballots that Republicans never got a chance to observe.
Well, we know you're going to argue this in a court, but is there any truth?
Yes,
is there any truth that Jared and Melania suggested to the president that he needs to start thinking about?
I have no knowledge to that effect. The president didn't tell me anything like that. I would seriously doubt it. And I think that the reason I'm on here is to try and get coverage of what has been basically censored, that all weekend we've been presenting evidence of fraud that isn't covered. We hold press conferences and it's not covered, which is similar to the censorship that was done of the Hunter Biden tapes that were very serious crimes. So, this is getting to be kind of crazy for America.
Mr. Mayor, I'm just wondering...
A court may reject this evidence, a court may accept this evidence, but you can't say there's no evidence.
Mr. Mayor, I know that you're very close with the president. Have you had a chance to talk with him this morning, and what is his state of mind?
His attitude is exactly what it always is. The president has seen a mountain of evidence that there was fraud committed in over 10 different states now. 3 or 4 of them, it's substantial. It takes a little while to gather it, but we're about to file suit in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania, for the entire state, in order to allege that there are many, many more unlawful ballots than the difference between him and Joe Biden, and that 700,000 lead that he had on election night disappeared, largely because they counted ballots that Republicans never got a chance to observe. So we're highly suspicious of it. But in any event, they're unlawful.
Well, we appreciate you coming on Good Day New York and giving us an update on this. Keep us in the loop and let us know how it goes.
I will. And please, see if we can get fair reportage of the evidence we're putting out. We're putting it out, like 3 times a day.
Well, okay, we look forward to seeing the evidence.
Please.
Thank you so much.
We haven't been putting it out all weekend, and your viewers didn't get to see it because nobody covered it.
Well, we're covering it now. Mayor Giuliani.
Thank you. And I appreciate that very much. You're the first to do it. And thank you, Rosanna. Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Thank you so much.
And it doesn't look like this will be ending anytime soon. It looks like President Trump is committed to going all the way to December to see if he can